What does it truly mean to be unstoppable? At first glance, the answer seems simple. Relentless effort, unyielding perseverance, and an ironclad will to succeed. We often picture unstoppable individuals as those rare few who break records, shatter expectations, or defy gravity itself. But beneath this surface lies a far more complex and unsettling truth. To be unstoppable is not merely to push forward without pause. It is to exist in a constant state of tension between external triumph and internal turmoil. It is a paradox, a relentless quest that tests not just the limits of physical endurance or talent, but the very fabric of the human psyche. In our culture, success is celebrated as if it were a linear journey, measured by milestones, achievements, and public recognition. Yet those who seem unstoppable often wrestle with invisible battles, doubt, fear, and isolation. What drives someone to keep moving when every fiber of their being screams to stop? Is it sheer grit, or is there something deeper, a hidden framework that governs true outperformance? This question demands a pause, a moment of reflection. It forces us to challenge the stories we tell ourselves about ambition, willpower, and what it means to succeed. To unravel this, we must step into the shoes of the relentless, those who have defied the odds throughout history. Their stories are not just about victory, but about navigating a labyrinth of psychological complexity. Being unstoppable requires a unique interplay of mind, spirit, and circumstance, a dance between control and chaos. It is an art as much as it is a science, one that reveals profound insights about human motivation and resilience. In this exploration, we will peel back the layers of the unstoppable myth, confronting uncomfortable questions about sacrifice, identity, and power. What does it cost to outperform everyone else? Is the prize worth the price? And perhaps most crucially, can anyone truly become unstoppable? Or is it a rare gift bestowed upon a select few? As we journey forward, prepare to question everything you thought you knew about success, drive, and the nature of human potential. History remembers its giants, not just for their remarkable achievements, but for their seemingly unstoppable nature. The explorers who charted unknown worlds, the inventors who reshaped reality, the revolutionaries who upended empires, and the thinkers whose ideas still ripple through time. We often reduce their greatness to simple formulas, talent, luck, or a moment of brilliance. But to truly understand what made them unstoppable, we must look beyond surface explanations and into the hidden mechanisms that propelled them forward. Take, for example, Leonardo da Vinci. His genius was not merely a product of innate talent, but of insatiable curiosity paired with relentless discipline. He dissected the world in ways no one dared to before, not just because he was gifted, but because he cultivated an obsessive mindset of exploration and experimentation. Da Vinci's unstoppable drive was a strategic blend of wonder and rigor, an unyielding hunger for knowledge married to the patience to pursue it relentlessly. Or consider the great explorers of the Age of Discovery, Magellan, Cook, and Columbus. Their journeys were not only feats of navigation, but acts of psychological endurance. Facing the unknown, they confronted not only the physical dangers of uncharted seas, but the mental challenge of uncertainty and isolation. What kept them moving forward wasn't just a map or compass. It was a deeply rooted belief in their mission, a vision so compelling it eclipsed fear. Their stories reveal a profound lesson. Unstoppable people are defined by their capacity to embrace uncertainty and to see opportunity where others see only risk. Revolutionaries like Che Guevara and Nelson Mandela embody another facet of unstoppable drive, resilience against crushing odds and oppressive systems. Their journeys illuminate the strategic patience required to outlast forces far stronger than themselves. Mandela's unwavering commitment to justice during 27 years of imprisonment wasn't a mere act of stubbornness, but a calculated, disciplined resistance rooted in a vision far beyond personal freedom. Such figures teach us that outperformance often involves mastering time, cultivating endurance as much as talent, And then there are the intellectual giants, philosophers, scientists, and writers whose ideas disrupted entire worldviews. Galileo challenged the cosmos. Nietzsche confronted morality. Marie Curie unraveled the secrets of radioactivity. Their work was never easy or accepted in their time. To be unstoppable in the realm of ideas demands resilience against social rejection, a capacity to endure isolation, and the mental flexibility to question foundational assumptions. They wielded psychological tools like self-doubt and radical skepticism not as weaknesses but as instruments of growth. What unites these seemingly disparate figures is not luck or raw talent, but a set of deeper qualities: mindset, strategic thinking, psychological resilience, and an ability to navigate and sometimes manipulate the social and political currents of their times. Their stories underscore that being unstoppable is a multifaceted phenomenon shaped by internal drive and external conditions. Most importantly, these historical lessons are not relics locked in the past. They provide a blueprint for anyone willing to look beneath the surface and embrace the intellectual rigor and emotional complexity of true outperformance. The unstoppable are not born, but forged through deliberate practice, critical thinking, and an acute awareness of the forces, both visible and invisible, that shape our world. As we reflect on these legends, the question remains: how can we harness these timeless lessons in our own lives? The path forward demands we adopt not just their actions but their philosophies, challenging comfort zones, enduring hardship, and cultivating an unbreakable will rooted in deeper meaning. What fuels the unstoppable mind? It's not just raw willpower or blind determination. It's a complex architecture of psychological mechanisms, some conscious and many lurking beneath awareness. To truly grasp what makes someone outperform others, we must peel back the layers of the mind and confront uncomfortable truths about ambition, identity, and resilience. At the heart of outperformance lies the concept of the growth mindset, a revolutionary idea that success isn't fixed by innate talent, but shaped by one's belief in the ability to learn and adapt. This mindset transforms failure from a dead end into a stepping stone, making setbacks less a sign of defeat and more an invitation to evolve. But cultivating this mindset is no simple feat. It requires a deliberate rewiring of how we perceive challenges, effort, and even our own worth. It demands a profound self-awareness that many never achieve, because it forces us to stare at our limitations head-on. Yet, the mind is not a neutral observer. Cognitive biases constantly shape our perception of reality, distorting feedback, amplifying fears, or lulling us into complacency. The unstoppable individual must learn to navigate these mental traps with precision, using emotional intelligence as a compass. Emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and manage one's emotions and those of others, is not just a soft skill, but a survival mechanism in the high-stakes game of outperformance. It allows one to stay grounded amid chaos, make strategic decisions under pressure, and forge authentic connections that become sources of strength rather than distraction. But ambition, that blazing fire that propels relentless drive, has a shadow side often ignored by popular narratives. The darker impulses, hubris, obsession, the hunger for control, can corrupt the very essence of what it means to be unstoppable. These forces distort motivation, pushing individuals into cycles of burnout, ethical compromise, and alienation. The unstoppable mind is, therefore, a battleground, a constant negotiation between noble aspiration and destructive desire. Philosophically, this raises deeper questions about identity and willpower. Who is this self that strives, suffers, and conquers? Is the self a stable entity or a fluid project, continuously reconstructed through experience and choice? Modern psychology suggests the latter, that our identity is an ongoing narrative, shaped by the stories we tell ourselves and the roles we inhabit. To be unstoppable, then, is not simply to push through obstacles, but to master the art of self-creation, to craft a resilient identity capable of adapting without losing coherence. Moreover, Mental resilience is often misunderstood as brute force, simply ignoring pain or failure. In reality, it involves mastering internal conflicts, embracing vulnerability, and finding balance in contradiction. The unstoppable mind can hold doubt and confidence simultaneously, balancing ambition with humility. It's an intellectual and emotional tightrope walk that few manage without falling. Navigating social pressures adds another layer of complexity. The unstoppable individual must contend with external expectations, cultural norms, and the subtle forces of manipulation that influence behavior. This requires a heightened social intelligence, the ability to read, anticipate, and sometimes resist the agendas of others while maintaining authenticity. In many ways, outperformance is as much about mastering social dynamics as it is about internal grit. This psychological landscape challenges the simplistic hero narrative so common in motivational culture. The unstoppable mind is not a mythic ideal free from flaw, but a dynamic, often fragile system that must be nurtured, protected, and understood in all its complexity. As we move forward, keep in mind that true outperformance arises from this delicate interplay between mind and world, a continuous process of learning, unlearning, and self-reinvention. It is an ongoing journey, not a destination. In our modern world, the quest to be unstoppable doesn't unfold in a vacuum. It's entangled within a sprawling maze of societal structures, media influences, and invisible forces that shape not only what we see, but what we believe possible. The narrative of meritocracy, of a level playing field where anyone can rise through talent and effort, is not only flawed, it's often a carefully constructed illusion. Behind the glossy veneer of social progress lies a complex web of propaganda, manipulation, and systemic barriers. Powerful entities, governments, corporations, media conglomerates, exert subtle yet profound control over the flow of information and opportunity. They craft narratives that maintain the status quo while presenting the illusion of freedom and choice. This isn't conspiracy theory in the realm of paranoia. It's an observable reality that demands scrutiny. Consider the media landscape. Headlines scream of innovation and empowerment. Yet beneath the surface, algorithms filter and tailor information to keep audiences trapped in echo chambers. Social media platforms, hailed as tools for connection and democratization, often serve as instruments of distraction and social control. They exploit cognitive biases, amplifying outrage and conformity while undermining critical thinking. In this environment, being unstoppable means more than internal drive. It requires navigating a minefield of misinformation and manipulation. Economic structures further complicate the picture. The promise that hard work guarantees success is undermined by growing inequality and entrenched privilege. Access to education, networks, and resources is often gatekept by social and financial barriers invisible to the casual observer. The so-called meritocracy becomes a myth when systemic bias and nepotism skew opportunities toward the few. Political forces wield similar influence, shaping not only laws but cultural narratives. The framing of dissent as dangerous or unpatriotic, the subtle policing of acceptable opinions, and the manufacture of consent create a climate where questioning the system is risky and conformity is rewarded. Outperforming in such a landscape is not simply about personal excellence, but about learning to see the strings that manipulate society's puppets. History offers chilling parallels. Just as past regimes employed propaganda to maintain control, today's information age is weaponized to sustain power dynamics under the guise of progress. The tech revolution, heralded as a democratizing force, often reinforces surveillance and control, raising profound questions about autonomy and freedom. This modern maze challenges the very definition of what it means to be unstoppable. If the rules are rigged, if perceptions are shaped by unseen hands, then outperforming requires not just effort, but awareness, a radical clarity about the forces that mold our reality. It demands intellectual vigilance and courage to defy not only personal limitations, but the systemic illusions designed to contain us. The illusion of progress is perhaps the most insidious barrier of all, lulling many into complacency, while true power remains concentrated and obscured. To navigate this maze, to be genuinely unstoppable today, one must develop the ability to see through the smokescreens, question prevailing narratives, and reclaim agency in a world designed to obscure it. This is not a journey for the faint-hearted. It is a psychological thriller played out on the stage of society itself, a test of intellect, courage, and resilience against forces that seek to define what is possible for us. So, how do we become truly unstoppable in a world riddled with complexities, illusions, and hidden traps? The answer isn't found in blind ambition or mindless hustle. It lies in cultivating a drive forged through critical thinking, emotional mastery, and a deeply philosophical understanding of life's challenges. To start, being unstoppable demands that we reject the scripted narratives fed by society, the myths of effortless success and meritocracy. Instead, we must embrace intellectual autonomy, questioning everything, seeking truth beyond surface appearances, and refusing to be pawns in games designed to distract and control. This intellectual vigilance is the foundation of real power. Emotional mastery follows closely behind. The path to outperformance is never smooth. It twists through self-doubt, fear, and the temptation to compromise values. Developing emotional resilience means learning to sit with discomfort, manage internal conflict, and harness emotions rather than be ruled by them. It means transforming vulnerability into strength, allowing authenticity to guide us through storms of uncertainty. But intellectual and emotional strength alone aren't enough. Adaptability is the silent force behind unstoppable individuals. In a world that shifts beneath our feet, socially, politically, technologically, rigidity is a path to failure. To outperform consistently, we must evolve, recalibrate, and embrace change as a constant companion, not a threat. This path also requires awareness of the subtle manipulations that permeate modern life. Recognizing propaganda, media spin, and social pressures empowers us to act with clarity and integrity. Outperforming others ethically demands a commitment not only to personal excellence, but to understanding the broader impact of our actions within society. Finally, becoming unstoppable calls for a philosophical reframing of success itself. It urges us to pursue meaning beyond metrics, to measure achievement not solely by wealth or fame, but by autonomy, resilience, and the ability to create value that endures. It is a call to seek fulfillment through mastery of self and circumstance, rather than external validation. This journey is both empowering and cautionary. It reminds us that the quest to outperform is not about domination or ego, but about transcending limitations while remaining grounded in ethical responsibility. To be unstoppable is to be relentlessly curious, fiercely independent, and profoundly connected to ourselves and the world around us. In the end, the lessons of history, psychology, and society converge into a single truth. True outperformance is an ongoing, dynamic process. It demands continuous growth, self-reflection, and the courage to walk paths few dare to tread. The choice is ours: to follow the herd, bound by illusions, or to forge a path of intellectual rigor, emotional strength, and ethical clarity. To be unstoppable is not a destination but a lifelong quest, a relentless pursuit of meaning, mastery, and true freedom.